Susan Bratton is the intimacy expert to millions, the world's leading authority on passionate, deeply connected sex in long term relationships. Her breakthrough methods, like the small offers, sexual vision, erotic vigilance, and vulnerability, help men turn resistance into eager, enthusiastic intimacy. The four keys to seduction also mitigate the anger and the victim mindset that so many men experience. Susan has spent decades studying the real physiological and psychological mechanisms of desire, and more importantly, how to reignite it in couples who think it's gone for good. As a best selling author and sought after speaker, she has been featured in major media for one reason: her techniques work. Susan delivers practical, instantly actionable seduction strategies that work with how real desire functions. No pressure, no manipulation, just irresistible chemistry, deep connection, and mind blowing pleasure. Susan is our guest for today at Sass It Up with Sassiest. Thank you, Susan, for being on our show. Hey Susan, thank you for being a part of the season 2 of Sass It Up with Sassiest. And I am so excited to have you here. I'm really glad I reached out to you and that you agreed to be over here with us. Trust me, I have a little bit of nerves, but I know I'm going to overcome them once we start talking because I'm so completely enamored by your power, and you sit in your feminine and your maxed out energy, and that's what I love about you.
Thank you so much, Karishma. I really appreciated you reaching out, and I love the questions you're going to ask me today. The level of care and detail, your heart really shone through, and I really got a sense of your mission of wanting to lift people up by lifting women up around our sexuality. I also really appreciate that you noticed that I have as much masculine as feminine energy. I am in my 60s now, and I've really grown into my enjoying really the full range of all that I have to offer, not playing small, but playing big, allowing myself to be as smart and strong and driven and full of desire and sexually confident and generally confident, which I think they really go hand in hand. When you begin to tap into your sexual pleasure and you really start to have incredibly fulfilling sexual pleasure experiences, it makes it really gives you a grounding and confidence that people who don't get to experience that don't enjoy in their lives. And I love the idea of taking your sexual power, owning your sexual power in a way that is very female forward, female led, out of, you call it the colonization, of course, and out of the, what I would also call religiously repressed, patriarchal perspective of our sexuality. And we talked about feeling empowered. It is a power play. Keeping us down as women, denying us our full sexual pleasure, shaming us about our genitals, not teaching us about our orgasmic potential, not modeling communication skills, not teaching pleasuring techniques. They're all designed to keep things the way they are or have been.
Yes.
And I gotta say, you and I both know, Karishma, that ship has sailed to a different shore and it's no longer ours. And we are claiming and taking back our feminine sexual empowerment. But there are a lot of steps to getting there, which we're going to talk about on this episode today. So I'm excited to dive in to the power of pleasure.
Absolutely. And giving you a background on what Indian women are right at this moment of time. We have seen patriarchy in its full force, and we come up still very culturally, what should I say, submissive. in our behavior, in our intellectual thinking, in our families. And sex as a topic is never encouraged. So sex is not encouraged. So pleasure is far off, you know. And hence we are very repressed on a majority level when it comes to Indian women. That being said, India is changing. We have a large urban population. We also are now going back to accepting conversations around sex, sexuality, gender, and that is opening up for us right now. Since COVID has happened, everything is just like kind of opened up for us. And in that openness, yes, there will be people who will be shutting you down, but there is a large part of the population who is going to start listening to us. One of the reasons why we are talking so much about sex, sexuality, gender, and whatever surrounds it as women. So absolutely, pleasure in its full force. And what I really wanted to ask you is that when we are so educated as women today, we are having full agency over our bodies and lives. We earn our own money. And in that, we need to find a partner who understands, accepts, and communicates very well regarding a very important aspect of relationships, which is our sex lives. And I want to understand, how do women who are so in their or coming into their power, how do you choose a partner who is compatible to you in that way?
Yeah. I'm not necessarily sure that there's anything that you need to worry about with regard to physical traits. They you when you're having hot when you learn with a partner how to have hot sex together, it takes between 20 and 60 lovemaking sessions to kind of get into a level of a groove where you can completely relax and surrender. So it doesn't happen overnight. Sexuality and good sex is a mastery process. It's a practice. It's a mindfulness practice. It's a heart connection practice. It's a willingness to let go and surrender to pleasure, to get out of your head into your body, to learn skills, both communication and pleasuring techniques. And all of that just takes a while to come together. But you could, knowing what I know now, studying female-led sexual pleasure and communication for decades, you could send anyone over to my house. And within a few sessions, the first session we'd have fun, but within a few sessions we'd be really hot together. So it doesn't matter who the person is. So it's really, the traits are, do they have a growth mindset and an ability to stay present when it gets difficult? So a willingness to work through things is very important, and a willingness to have conversations, both conversations about desires and fantasies and pleasure, as well as conversations about, what does my body need in this moment? What does yours need? How can we have a really nice time together right now, wherever we are in our physical form and our emotional body? Because that changes for every human in every moment. So being aware, getting away from a prescribed strategy of sexuality and being really open to letting your sexuality develop. Knowing that orgasms are a learned skill, oral pleasuring, intercourse, breast pleasuring, kissing, full body touch. These are really learned skills, and they're not to be confused with procreation. That's pretty easy. Making a baby turns out to be, for some, not easy, but generally for most, a little too easy. We've got to be careful. So I think it's that, if I had to say it, it's a growth mindset, willing to learn new skills, and an ability to have the courage to communicate. And the courage also grows bigger over time. Now, I started out, even as a little kid, I would speak on behalf of my schoolmates. If there was an injustice, I was kind of like the mama, the mama tiger, watching over my flock. I don't know why. I just always was willing to stand up a bit to things. And so I think that naturally allowed me to move into the world of teaching pleasuring techniques and communication skills. And I've written and published 44 books and programs now, 10 programs and books of the work of my mentors, whose lineages they've passed down and I carry on, that are fundamental pleasuring techniques. Examples specifically are things like orgasmic activation and cross training, which I want to talk to you about, expanded orgasmic pleasure, learning how to stay in the moment of climax. I'm going to tell you a little story about my sex date yesterday. Staying in the moment of climax for a very long time, learning how to enjoy and ride pleasurable sensation, because our bodies have been so shut off from it. We have to learn how to hold it. It's kind of like holding in your anger or holding in your jealousy, but it's experience and riding your pleasure. It's the opposite end of the spectrum, but it's about staying in it. So I think that's very important, because shame pushes us out. So we have to bring back, come back. And that's what practice is. So I'm using these words very carefully. So female orgasm, G-spot, it's not a spot. I don't even like the term. It's the periurethral sponge. It's a spongy tissue in our vulvovaginal system, but it is called a G-spot, and we like G-spot awakening, de-armoring, activation, and then moving on to female ejaculatory orgasms, which all bodies can do, all women can do it. It's lovely and pleasurable. Some women want it, some women don't. Some women do it naturally. Some women want to learn how. Others could live without it. I personally had a beautiful ejaculatory session yesterday in my lovemaking date that I really enjoyed. So I'm dropping things so you can decide where you want to take me. But I think passing down these lineages and learning these techniques and then sharing them with people. Also, male multiple orgasm. That's the third technique whose lineage I carry. And I think that is very important, because one must understand that an ejaculatory orgasm for a man is just one of the 20 kinds of orgasms the human body can have. And I put a lot of emphasis on orgasm. And the reason that I do is twofold. Number one, it makes sex very satisfying. Number two, it's very easy to learn how to do them. And I will give you some links so that everyone can just take the free content. Everything that I'm going to give you a link for will most likely just be free content that teaches you how to do specific techniques. So orgasmic intercourse is .com is a very nice collection of my 10 best orgasm techniques for penis in vagina sex, which is very popular, because that's the thing that women complain the most about. Absolutely. That they just are struggling to have an orgasm from intercourse.
During penetration, yes, because those are the statistics that we go by, right? When we say that 80% of women do not orgasm with penetrative sex, it becomes quite a huge gap in pleasure, because we always focus on the penetration, which should not be the case, because sex is so much more than just penetration. But I would like you to enlighten me. I'm sure the men are going to love this. Please enlighten us on the different ways a man can climax.
Well, there's as many as there are for women. So it turns out that there's three. I'll just answer for generally the human body. What I like to say, we're just Homo sapien. And I like to use the word Homo sapien because that's our name in the animal kingdom. Correct. And we do live in an animal body. We are, if you look at the tree of life, with the dolls and the dolphins and the whales and the monkeys. Well, if you look at the monkeys, we're part of the great ape branch of the tree of life. And in the great apes, we've got our bonobos and our chimpanzees and our orangutans and all of these kinds of things. But Homo sapien is another great ape. So we happen to be an intellectually potentially more evolved.
Yeah, potentially. Let's underline that because we're doing more damage to the planet than all these other species are at the moment. But yeah, potentially.
We're not doing so great right this second, are we?
Yeah. No.
But we are. Everything is getting better.
Yeah.
And our humanity of the Homo sapien is moving forward. And we are talking about these things and we are changing things. And the work you're doing is making a huge difference, Karishma. So when you think about the fact that we live in an animal body and we are subject to the vagaries of sleep, nutrition, stress, how much we feel loved and safe and adored, as well as how much knowledge we have, what we have available to us, where we are in our moon cycle, and even after we cease menstruation, we still cycle with the moon. We're still cyclical. And so all of these things go into effect. What happens outside the bedroom with your partner impacts inside the bed. All these things. Every time you land in a lovemaking space together, all of those things came with you. And so your lovemaking can be different every single time. And orgasm, a lot of sexperts will tell you that orgasm should not be the goal. And I disagree.
Mhm.
Because orgasm is so, if you study it like I do, if you've studied it for decades, you realize that orgasms are like making a good recipe. Once someone tells you what the ingredients are, what the instructions are, and you do it the first time, maybe it tastes good, but not great, but you're like, I think I could improve this recipe. And then the second time you make love and you try that orgasm, that type of orgasm, and I will give you a list. You're like, oh, okay, I can see that this could work. This is pretty good. This is getting tasty. And the third time you make it, it's like, oh, this is going into my regular rotation. I mean, I'm just going to keep making this. My family loves it, or my partner loves to eat it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so that's really what it is. It is, I'm going to say, practice again.
Yeah.
And so there's 3 types of orgasms. There's locations to touch on the body. So it could be, clitoral orgasms, it could be G-spot orgasms, it could be vaginal orgasms, anal gasms, nipple gasms, core gasms, belly gasms, foot gasms, oral gasms. You can have orgasms giving oral pleasure, not just receiving it. Or it could be techniques to use, such as the expanded orgasm clitoral stroking technique, G-spot deactivation and de-armoring, female ejaculation, male multiple orgasm, erotic hypnosis is a really good example, right? You've heard of that.
Yeah.
So those are techniques to use to elicit orgasms with the human operating system, which works the same across the board. Some people need a little more pressure to start, a little less pressure to start, a little different approach, but generally our bodies work the way our bodies work. So it's all available to all of us. And then the third category is objects of desire. And that could be anything from pleasure tools to, soy wax dripped on your body to floggers, or cat o' nine tails for, spankings, or, kink and BDSM gear, or sensation play type of things. And so there's tons of objects of desire that also elicit orgasmic response. So everything kind of fits neatly in that. And if you added up all of the different kinds, it's more than 20, because I always joke that number 20 is a wild card, and I keep finding more types of orgasms. It's absolutely unlimited. And once you move to that mindset that orgasmic pleasure is your right as a human on this planet, that it's learnable and doable, that it gets better with age, So many people think that your sex life goes down as you age, your peak in your 20s or your 30s or whatever. Not at all. I'm having
Yeah.
the absolute best sex of my life here in my mid 60s.
That's
So that's also a very important thing to think about is, remember I said it's a mastery, it's a practice. You will get better
better with.
as you learn.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with you. I was at this conference when they were talking to me about the same thing, and I was speaking about how it changes over your lifespan. In your 20s, you're far more rushed and excited, and it's almost like bunny-like. While when you're in your 30s, you want to like center it into your emotional space. You want to connect better, and then in your 40s, you kind of want to experiment a little bit, and find your kinks and find a partner who would actually be open to those kind of things. And then obviously that taken forward into your 50s and 60s is a different playtime altogether. And I know for a fact that it has to get better with time. And that brings me to the next thing where you speak about the sex lifespan, of any individual, and it being so important to understand that side of you, because it follows you from the beginning to the end. And how is it possible for someone to extend that sex lifespan? I don't want people to think that oh, you're not supposed to do it after you're 50 or 60, your libido kind of drops or falls. I don't believe that. So can you tell us how you actually can extend your sex lifespan?
Yes. So your sex span actually lengthens your health span. If you think about two couples, one couple has this mindset where the sex wasn't pleasurable, she doesn't want it anymore, he's begging her for it or demanding it, which is even worse,
Yeah.
and making her feel guilty. She feels awful. They just do it. It's what I call mercy sex.
Yeah.
They stop touching each other. She doesn't sleep with him anymore. They don't want, now I don't sleep with my husband. He's a big snorer. He's a mad snorer. We lie in bed together until his first snort, and then I give him the elbow. And he goes and sleeps in the other room. We're so lucky to
Been
have
there,
two
done that.
rooms.
I've done the same thing.
We both sleep better now. But
Yeah, sure.
but the whole idea that you have this couple that they've given up on it. They're really platonic at this stage of their lives, 50, 60 years old. Then you've got this couple that had the growth mindset. They wanted to learn. Those are your listeners. Your listeners are listening to your show to learn. I'm talking to you, growth mindset human being. Thank you for being here today, because you get to be one of the people who says, "Oh, I've got a lot to learn and I'm going to get started. I want a great sex life. I know the power of feeling great in my body. I know this benefit of orgasmic ecstasy is going to fuel my neurotransmitter cascades, my hormone cascades. It's going to reboot my nervous system. It's going to oxygenate my brain, improve my cognitive function, stave off Alzheimer's and dementia. It's going to release natural killer cells to eat up all the senescent cells, like autophagy, like fasting without the fasting, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's going to support my immune function. It's going to improve my vascular system so I have less chance of heart attack and stroke. It's going to make me mood lift me with serotonin and dopamine. It's going to generate oxytocin, which is going to improve my connection to my partner, my connection to my friends and family. It's going to make me less annoyed with the human race right now, which we really need a lot of right now. And it's going to make me feel the awe of beauty and nature and delicious food and the love of friends and family. It gives me this downstream effect of actually opening my heart. Oxytocin is very much a chemical. It's a hormone. It's a master hormone. It kind of runs in tandem with cortisol, adrenaline. I'm not sure which you call it in India.
Yeah.
And you call it adrenaline or cortisol?
Yeah. Yeah. Cortisol.
You call
We
it
use
cortisol.
both words. We
Both
use
words.
both words.
Both
Yeah.
words too. Yeah, so do we. And it kind of modulates the cortisol and lowers your stress and all of that kind of stuff. And it really happens with skin to skin contact. Plus, making sure you're getting a lot of probiotics. You need Lactobacillus reuteri in your gut. It's a particular milk strain of bacteria, and luckily in India you eat a lot of raita, so you're eating a lot of yogurts, which is
Yeah.
good. And keeping your gut bacteria in good shape really helps you produce the oxytocin with your adrenal system. And so all of these things add years to your life. Also, male ejaculation, frequent male ejaculation staves off prostate problems later in life as well. So it's just keeping everything moving, if you will,
Correct.
which is
Yes.
very, very important. So couple A, they get old, they're cranky, their skin is wrinkly, they don't look as good, they
Mm.
atrophy more quickly. Couple B, they're happier, they're healthier, they're more robust, they have less overall and especially genital atrophy because they're using the parts,
Mhm.
and they end up living literally years longer, but so healthier, but definitely also happier. And
Mhm.
so you're in a fork in the road, and luckily your show listeners
Mhm.
are the people who are going to end up as couple B, living that long, healthy, happy life, because they're going to realize that it's only learning skills, tools, and practice that will get them what they want.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with that, I also came to, I mean, when I was going through your videos online, you kind of emphasize on how keeping your sex life planned or keeping your sex dates planned is far more fruitful than having spontaneous sex. And I want you to tell us how basically should we make those plans and what makes those plans exciting.
Yeah, that's great. Well, the reason that I think, a lot of sexperts will say, you've got to schedule sex. Well, that
Mm.
just sounds like a chore to me. And
Yeah.
for women who aren't receiving a lot of pleasurable experience, that's the last thing they want to do. That's just one more chore on their to-do list.
Yeah.
And so they're really not motivated to do it. Their husbands would do it. Yeah, service me. I want to ejaculate inside you, which is basically masturbating inside you.
Correct.
And so I'm going to go through a couple of my thinking about a couple of different things, and I'm just going to kind of popcorn them. Um, One is that women's arousal happens. I know you've heard this, Karishma. The idea of this was Dr. Beverly Sassen's work of
Mhm.
spontaneous versus responsive
Yes.
arousal. Men
Yes.
tend with more testosterone to have more spontaneous desire.
Yeah.
They have nighttime erections. They wake up
Yeah.
with morning erections. They're
Yeah.
ready to go. They're available to us whenever we're ready. Really, they must be
Correct.
ready for us.
Yes.
And then women run around feeling like there's something wrong with them because they don't have that response. But that's
Mm.
not the feminine body. The feminine body is responsive to the desire. And so we need our male partners or our partners in general to help us, especially if you're in a lesbian relationship. The two of you have to do the heavy lifting together. It's
Yeah.
particularly important because you're dealing with women's bodies. And what's nice is that for my husband and I know that when let's just say I hit the bedroom with him and we have a date planned, there's two things. Number one, sometimes there's something specific one of us is looking forward to that we'd like to try, something new. And my husband is very experimental and open to trying anything with me. And he loves that I'm always coming up with, oh, I've got to test this toy. I want to try this sex position. I want to, try this, but make this change. I'm always learning so that I can write it down and pass it on, because
Right.
there's nothing unique about me at all. I am just your typical Homo sapien up in that tree branch with my bonobo and orangutan sisters and brothers. And so what works for me is likely very much going to also work for you and for
Yeah.
everyone else. We're
Right.
built the same. We just have a beautiful variety of our presentation of our visual, but
Yeah.
internally we are exactly the same species. So when when I schedule sex and I have the date, I'm a workaholic. My career is really taking off right now, and I've worked decades to get here. And so I am busy. Everybody wants a piece of me right now, which I love. I enjoy to give as much as I can. And so I like to have scheduled sex dates, and I like to not worry about what I'm going to do till I get there, because then I know I can feel into my cycle, my desire, my stress, where I am with things, and just work with my husband and figure out what it is we want to do. Now, we also use our sex life bucket list a lot. And one of the things that I love about my husband is that he's always full of good ideas, nice, fun ideas. So he can run me a menu of offers. And often, if I don't know what I want, he'll say 5 or 6 things, and I'll be like, that's interesting, but could we do it this way? And he'll be like, of course. It's just like prompts almost. He's giving me prompts. And so, and then sometimes I show up already knowing what I want, and that's really good. And sometimes he shows up knowing what he wants, and I love the idea too. We're very good around that. So it's trying a lot of new things, but there are some things that we always start with, almost always. And one of them is a yoni massage. So what are the terms that are what are the top 3 most common terms for the female genital system in India right now?
So obviously we use the word vulva, vagina. We use definitely we only use that on a technical term, but on the other term it is yoni, definitely, because that's our Indian word. So when you say yoni, everybody knows what it means. So that's the word pretty much for it. Those are the acceptable words, apart from the slang that everybody uses, which is the pussy, which is that. But yeah, 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 yeah. That is pretty much generic across the globe. So yeah, yeah.
And it's funny too, because I think about my genitals as the lotus. And I think about it as the lotus because once I sunk her in the depths of the water of my husband's love and allowed him to nourish me, she started to open and bloom, and she's been unfurling for decades. She's in this extended bloom cycle where she just has gotten more juicy, more responsive, more orgasmic, more in love with pleasure. And when we start our lovemaking, we 99% of the time start with a yoni massage, because women have as much erectile tissue as our male-bodied partners, but our blood flow, hemodynamics, is very slow seeping rather than fast flowing. And it takes the yoni about 20 minutes to fill up we have that same amount of spongy tissue. And our male body partner, he's ready to go. And he thinks that, because we've been living under this ancient paradigm of power and control, that our job is to submit to intercourse, and we've been penetrated too fast, and we haven't been given the worship and the pleasuring of our yoni that she needs to get relaxed and out of her head and into her body, and heart connected, and then touched in loving ways that feel excellent. And then the blood starts to go to the pelvic bowl, and it seeps in and it plumps up the tissue. And when it plumps up those tissue chambers that surround the vaginal cavern, they're completely surrounding it. The clitoral structures with the arms and the legs and the body and the neck and the head, and it's like a little starfish in there. But also the paraurethral sponge with which has the G spot, if you will, and then the perineal sponge on the floor of the vagina. This little flower down here. It almost looks like a prostate. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And when that all gets filled with blood and it expands because it plumps up or engorges, like getting an erection, then it has more surface area. So when it's touched, it's sending way more pleasure signals to your brain. Your somatosensory complex on the top of your head is the area that processes sensation. It will tell you, oh, that feels painful, that feels shameful, that feels numb, that feels pleasurable. And when you can transmute all of the shame, the pain, and the numbness into pleasure over time with safe, loving touch.
Yes.
And as you bring more and more of that tissue online with the neural pathways, your vagal nerve, your pudendal nerve, etc., then your nervous system starts to be able to distinguish, that area of my labia feels really good to touch. Oh, I want you to rub across my mons. Oh, I want you to tickle my little inner labia. I love it when you go inside my vestibule. I love when you come up underneath my clitoral shaft, not just straight onto my clitoris. Oh, I love it when you get my shaft really thick and juicy and erect. That feels so good. And then I love when you're touching the inside of the opening to my vaginal sphincter, my introital sphincter, the opening to my vagina, that little round muscle. I love it when you just tickle that and you don't even go in. Oh, I love it when you're right inside and you're just running your finger on. Oh, I love it when you touch right on the roof or right on the floor of my vagina. Oh, now I'm loving that you're touching my vaginal cavern, but what you're doing is you're actually not just thinking about friction, you're actually pressing inside on that tissue so that my pelvic bowl and all the nerves in there are now activated, so that when you do put your penis in me, it feels so good because it's all engorged and turned on and rich. And I've already had 20 or 30 orgasms from your fingers or your tongue or some toys or what have you. And so when you think about it that way, then you have Tim and I, what we have is something called our sex life bucket list. I wrote this about 2 years ago now. I took all of the ideas I had for hot sex dates, and I made a list of 48 erotic play dates that I could give to couples in a printout. And so if you go to sexlifebucketlist.com, it's free. There's a video that I recorded where I walk you through all the 48 ideas. You and your partner, if you're lucky enough to have one, you both go through them and you mark each one an A, a B, or a C. A is, I definitely want to do this. B is, it's not for me, but if you want to do it, I would do it with you. I'm open to it. C is, it's not for me right now. And then when you have your A list and your partner's A list and you merge them, you've got this nice list of ideas for your scheduled sex dates. You can lay in the oils and the toys and the candles and the waterproof sheet, and you can get at your music and your lighting, and you can just make it so lovely in there. Maybe you wear your lingerie, or you've got satin sheets, or whatever is right for you. You have it all ready. Your partner set it up. He's got a stack of nice clean washcloths to wipe hands and pat yonis, and that makes it so nice because you can just lie down. You've got your pitcher of water, maybe you've got some grapes and some berries or what have you. You just hit the bed, the comfortable location, or maybe you're having a lovemaking date where you're gonna have sex on the dining room table, or you're gonna have sex in the car, the park, or whatever. And that gives you some things to look forward to, and now you've got dates on the calendar, you're looking forward to it, you know you've got some ideas, you'll decide what you want to do when you get there, you're practicing instead of just, having your husband masturbate inside you to get off, and then you're like, oh my God, I never want to do this again.
Yes, and what I love about the fact that you said that word is very important. It's called safety, which is what women mostly do not feel in their relationships. Their relationships are so governed by judgment that they don't even feel the need to express themselves emotionally. Forget about physically. Emotionally, it becomes quite a task for women to do that. So for them to feel safe in their relationships, and a sense of safety brings about that kind of relaxation where you can communicate with your partner and say whatever you want. The amount of I have to probably draw a completely new chart of anatomy for what the body parts that you have mentioned at this moment of time to address and feel, because women need to know this vocabulary to exactly tell a person or their partner that, oh, this is what I want from you. And that becomes very challenging. So I'm so glad you're saying all this, because I want the women to know that they need to feel all these parts, emotions and safety all at the same time to feel nurtured and in their whole feminine. So I'm so glad you're actually saying that. When I'm talking about now couples, when we are so basically our country right now, and the Supreme Court has also said this, that we are in a epidemic of sexless marriages. And it's very evident that we see it even around us when it comes to our own families, friends, relatives, and somewhere down the line I feel like people don't know how to address the spark in their relationship, like when it dies down completely. And it becomes really tough to revive that, and to actually have a person or a partner who says, yes, we need to do something about this. These conversations are difficult, yet so important to have, because if you choose to stay in a relationship, continue in a relationship which is sexless, you're not going to live your fullest life, because sex is such an integral part of your entire relationship, not only with yourself but with your partner. So a lot of it comes from communication, is what something I want to address over here. Is how should one even start these conversations when you have gone to ground zero, in your sex life? How do we initiate that, and what kind of help should we look forward to, whether it be talking to each other, whether it be externally? What can we look forward to start that?
So, one of my most popular programs is a program called Revive Her Drive. And it's for men in relationship whose wives don't want to have sex with them anymore. And I cleverly named it Revive Her Drive, like he had to fix her because he thinks she's broken. He doesn't think there's anything wrong with him typically. And so guys will buy it and then they'll be like, "Oh, you sneaky little devil. You fixed me. Ah, that was smart, little Susie Bratton." So I'm like, yes, I did. I tricked you. But that's okay. It's not men's fault because they grew up in the same world we did, and they think that they think they're doing the right thing, and there's no education and all that stuff. So I don't blame guys at all. I just go with how they think about things to try to help them understand the female dynamic.
Yeah.
And it's like someone could be thinking right now, well, why is it the guy's fault? Why does he have to do it? And he has to do it because we grew up in a religiously repressed, patriarchal, colonialized culture that has subjugated women sexually and made us powerless. And our husbands who want to have hot sex with us need to help pull us out of that giant, crevasse that we've been thrown down into and sacrificed for power. And so you can rail against the system or you can make love to your wife. What do you choose? If you want to step up and fix the problem and have a great sex life, here's what you do. There's four things. The first one is that you must romance your woman. You must be the wind beneath her wings. You must empower her. You must create a safe container for her. You must protect her and provide security for her. You must treat her well. You must love her. You must adore her. You must worship her. You must give her verbal appreciation. You must notice all of the things that are special and beautiful about her. You must tell her how much you love her body, her mind, her ability, her essence on this planet, and all of the value that she brings to your life. You must give her gifts. They can be gifts of service. They can be physical gifts. It's nice if you do both. We like to receive gifts. We are goddesses and we deserve to be worshipped. The next thing that you must do is romance her. You must take her on walks in nature. You must feed her delicious food. You must stroke and hold her body without trying to get sex. You must snuggle her and just ground her and support her and love her and hold her hand and have her sit on your lap and give her kisses on her cheeks and comb her hair and draw her bath and just continue to make her your beloved. The second, so that's the appreciation and the romance, the kindness, the support, the masculine integrity in the relationship. You must show up for her, and that is your job. When you do that, that allows her to relax and become in her feminine and to feel worshipped and adored. The second thing that you must understand is going back to Dr. Beverly Sassen's information about the spontaneous versus responsive, is to never expect her to initiate, to assume it's your job, the same as you kill the spiders and the rats and you take out the trash and you deal with all the icky things. This is your job. If she happens to initiate, enjoy it, but never expect it, because she doesn't run around horny like you do. You got lucky that you're horny all the time. Some men wish they weren't so horny because they don't understand how to channel the horniness into love and worship and desire. But once you realize that you can make her a lot of offers, you can move her toward pleasure, you can help her get out of her head and into her body, you can remind her why she loves you and loves to be close to you, you can learn good love-making skills. That's the next thing. So the second thing is to understand that she's responsive and you must create the environment for her to release into her pleasure with you. That is your job. You do that. And the third thing, and once you get really good at it and you do it so much, she'll start doing it back. You'll know you've done a great job when she's creating dates with you, when she's wanting you, and she will want you when you do these steps. Then the next step from there is learning pleasuring techniques, full body touch, delicious kissing, words of adoration and appreciation and encouragement. When you understand all of the parts of her genital anatomy and you've begun to pleasure and activate and awaken them. When you can give her nipple gasms and clitoral gasms and vaginal gasms and all of those kinds of things because you've gotten so good at pleasuring her body. That's very important. And then the final thing is to really move into an appreciation for how far you've come and to continue to hold the flame for your ever expanding sexual and orgasmic co-creative possibility, and really just owning and holding that and being the man she wants to have sex with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I completely agree with you on that, because I feel women generally do a lot of heavyweight lifting in a relationship. And it is nice for men to actually take that initiative to do the good things for the relationship, I feel. And it's so important because the women in India generally are like the homemakers. They take care of the kids. They're now even going to work and they balance both, and it's exhausting being a woman. And I guess it has to be, in equal responsibility to actually nurture that space, nurture the home, nurture the kids. It has to be an equal responsibility where she gets the opportunity to actually relax and say, you know what, I really want you, apart from all this chaos that we are going through, but I really want to be with you, spend time with you, make love to you. And it's so important for the man to just like step into his role fully and be present over there for her to be actually relaxed. Which brings me to my next question. Yes, women can have different kinds of orgasms, and we are obviously trying to explore getting past just one orgasm. But I know for a fact that there is this one queen of orgasm that women have, and I know I've had that, and and I don't know if we should even. I should, but well, fuck it. I'll just say it. I love an orgasm which stimulates my clitoris, my vaginal canal, as well as my anus at the same time, which brings me to that one massive orgasm which is like lasting over like probably a few minutes, which takes me to that height. And I don't know if women really get to that full power or the queen of orgasms. And I want to tell everybody, like as in the Indian audience, that it's okay to explore that, to want that and explore that. But when you described it, when I saw it for the first time, I was like, oh my god, that feels amazing, because I know exactly how it feels like. And I want you to tell them as to how you could get there, on a probably even self pleasure, but more importantly with your partner.
Well, what you described, I often call the trigasm because it's
Oh,
3 points of stimulation. And
yes.
that's a pretty advanced move
Yeah.
because you're able to experience sensation from
Yeah.
different locations, clitoral, vaginal, anal, simultaneously. And it takes some practice to be able to hold the space
Yep.
to have that sheer volume of sensation swamping your body. And that is a very big orgasm.
Yeah.
Sometimes the orgasms that you have when you learn how to hold that amount of pleasure are very loud, moaning, screaming. You're screaming in pleasure. It's a really exciting kind of an experience, which I love. And what's so cool is that all of these different types of orgasms, you could start just focusing on the clitoris. You could start just focusing on all of the labia, mons, vestibule. When you open the little labia, like a door, the
Mm.
vestibule is there, but not inside the vagina. You can
Mm.
explore the whole inside of the vaginal cavern and 360 degrees inside that cavern and activate all that tissue. You can play with the anus and activate just the sensors on that sphincter, or you can go further with lots of lube and go inside the rectum and feel all that pleasure. And it's interesting that I would say clitoral orgasms are kind of like, oh, oh, oh. And vaginal orgasms are more like, ah, ah, ah. And anal orgasms are more like, oh, oh,
Yeah,
oh.
I get that.
And so they have
Yeah.
these kind of
Yeah.
sounds to them
Yeah. Yeah.
that describe almost the sensation. And they're all wonderful. And you
Yeah.
can learn them one by one by one, and then you can start stacking two and stacking three. I
Yeah.
mean, that's really incredible, as well as to just begin to expand your orgasmic capacity. You have this huge orgasmic potential. You expand the capacity for being able to stay in sensation, feel the sense, activate the sensation. First be touched in that place.
Yes.
And then to be touched in ways that you like, and then to be touched in ways that you like that start to give you orgasms, and then be touched in ways that give you orgasms that get extended and then expanded. So you can have one orgasm, multiple orgasms, extended orgasms, and expanded orgasms. And the one orgasm is great. It's kind of like your training wheels. All right, you got there. You got the path. That's good. You've got lots of paths. So you can start laying down more train tracks, right, to your brain. And then you have, I can do it repeatedly. And usually for women, they start out with a lot of pressure to get to the goal, but over time, as their bodies get acclimated to orgasmic bliss, it requires less and less pressure. And then you can go into extended orgasms, which is where you take that moment of orgasm and you stretch it out and you just stay in it and you ride it. You're just riding that pleasure. And then you can make it expanded so that as you climb your arousal ladder and you get more and more turned on, and you know how to do all of it with a fairly light touch, so you're not kind of blowing out the receptors, then you're able to take that moment of climax and not only pull it like it's, like you're just taking it and stretching that moment and making it last longer. You're actually stacking the orgasms so that they get better and more intense and more intense and more intense. And I can easily have 3 hours of orgasms. I take breaks. I take rests, and then I do some more things, rests and do them. So I'll start out with yoni massage, and then I might do oral. I might go down on my partner, and then he might go down on me. And then we might do 69 mutual simultaneous orgasm. Lots of people are like, "Oh, that's too much for me." I'm like, "Well, practice. You just get better at it." Right? I mean, it's just, nobody's good at it when they first start. That's just how it is. Then you might do intercourse. Then you might have anal pleasure. You might have breast play. You might try different positions. You might try new locations. You could just kind of keep expanding what you're doing, feeling, and wanting. I think on everything we've talked about, Karishma, it's the bottom line is practice and expand. Like it's available. You can learn it, practice and expand. Like that's kind of what it nets out.
Yeah, as long as you have the patience to do that, number one, because I feel we have some people are just really impatient about sex. They just want to get there, get to an ejaculation or get to an orgasm as soon as possible. But we do not understand the after of it can be so much more, and that is where it stops, which is we're cutting off something which is far more satisfying to explore, and that I think is what we need to really start exploring, sitting into, and definitely experimenting with, because again, as you said, sex can be not so fun the first few times, but when you start actually understanding each other's bodies, it can really transform into such amazing moments of just bonding with each other, and I think that's the eventual goal, to have better relationships via your playtime, your sex time, and your communication with it. So that is absolutely beautiful to have if you find it, which brings me to my next question. I know for a fact that we are monogamous on our so-called culture. We're very monogamous, though we weren't actually. As a culture, India is very polyamorous. Before we got colonized, we did have a lot of matriarchal, culture as well, and we had the patriarchal culture. We had a mix of both. But yes, polyamory was very, very, accepted and practiced as a part of our culture. Then obviously the colonization happened. It went out of the window. For some reason, we were behaving like everybody was a virgin, and all that bull crap that came along with it. But now I know for a fact that our culture is kind of shifting. It's open towards, I think, in the urban space we are so-called monogamous, but I know that people are exploring their polyamorous side as well. Um, Having said that, on a very instinctive level, are we as Homo sapiens polyamorous or monogamous? And if we are, exploring polyamory, what is that like?
Yeah, I like to think about things in trees, I think. Here I am with a tree again. Karishma, things are in trees for me. I'm visual.
Yeah, bonobos and trees.
I think about the tree is called consensual non-monogamy. We're agreeing that there's more love available than just with
Yes.
a male female pair bond.
Yeah.
And the different branches would be things like swingers and lifestyle, um, polyamory, um, relationship anarchy,
Mm.
um, open relationships. These are all different words that really just mean not monogamous,
Correct.
but in different ways. So
Yeah.
on a spectrum, you could think about the swingers, the lifestyle people as being not so much emotional connection, more just sexual play and pleasure and satisfaction, variety and novelty. These are generalized.
Yeah.
Then you can think about, because many swingers are in communities of swingers who are their friends, and they're deeply friendship based, and they love each other. So that's not like they don't love each other. It's just slightly different. They tend to be a couple who swings. That's the most common thing, or they're
Yeah.
a swinger. And then the second group kind of moves into open relationship and relationship anarchy. And that's more like we'll decide what the construct of the relationship is as we go, and it can move over time. And we're going to construct a relationship that's right for the people who are in it.
Right.
So I really like that. And then you move toward more polyamorous, and polycules also have a different flavor. There's like kitchen table poly, which is we're all one big happy family. We all eat breakfast together. It's not just we have multiple partners that are consistently in our lives. But poly tends to be we are in longer relationships that tend to be more emotional, and kitchen table poly is where we're all in a relationship together. So maybe there's two men and two women, and we're all in the relationship together. We all have sex with each other. Maybe we don't all live together, but when someone comes over, or two people come over, or three people come over, we're having sex together. Or two of us go off and we go on a trip, or three of us go off and we go on a trip. It's more like that. And so I think all of them have their merits, and all of them have their seasons. And over the last few decades, I've been married to my husband for 34 years. And we've been in an open relationship, which I consider the middle ground, because we've done everything from swinging and sex parties all the way up to polycules, kitchen table polycules. And so I've had the experience with all of those things over decades. And my husband and I are definitely a stable monogamous base, and people come in and out of our lives. We've been together longer than we've been apart at this point. He's my forever partner, but I married really well. I married a very bright, very kind, loving man. And to me, that's the best of both worlds, because I am a sapiosexual. I fall in love with people's brains and values and heart, not their external. Though I, of course, love people I find sexy, but it's just because I find them sexy, right? Like we
Yeah.
all like different things.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, the whole kind of tree. And it takes a lot of emotional maturity. It takes, going back to the very first thing we talked about, Karishma, was how you have to learn how to stay in conflict. You have to
Yes.
deal with, you have to be present and work
Yeah.
through whatever happens and be willing
Mm.
to talk and learn and grow. That makes a good sexual partner. It also makes a good relationship partner.
Right.
So we've been through all kinds of things with our partners. And I would say, generally, of all of the people that we've ever had come in and out of our relationship safely, by the way, I'm the
Mm-hmm.
chief advocacy officer of a company called Pro DX Health. And here in the US, we now have at home STI testing kits. And we
Mm-hmm.
test for a wide variety of STIs. We keep the
Yes.
kits at home. We take tests and we wait 30 days and have no sex with, if a new person wants to come in and have sex with us, it's a 30-day window at a minimum where they have to abstain from having any mouth to genital or genital to genital contact with anyone else, because we don't want them to get anything in the interim. They wait 30 days, they test in, we get the results, and then we also test 2 months later,
Correct.
all of us, in case there was
Correct.
something with a longer incubation period that was
Mm-hmm.
not picked up.
Mm.
And when you do that, that gives you time to get used to each other, to make sure you're entering into a relationship that you want to, that 30 days later you still want to be intimate with them,
Right.
right? It's not the kind of thing where we're just going out and having sex with random
Yeah.
people. It's
Yeah.
very thoughtful and planned and
Yeah.
mature and safety minded. And once you do all of that, then you have wonderful, fun, new adventures together. And
Correct.
each lover I've ever had, there's this talk about body count and some
Mm.
shaming around body count. Like men are allowed to have sex with as many people as they want, but women aren't supposed to. That's just falderall. Who do you think they're having sex? Well, they're having sex with each other, of course, too. And
Correct.
that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
They're having a lot,
Yeah.
men are having a lot of sex with other men. A
Yeah.
lot.
Yep.
Way more than we know. Like if we could put a dog collar on them, oh my God. And we had an app for all of the men they were having sex with. They're having sex with each other so much. Even if it's just oral, that still transmits STIs. So you really
Absolutely.
have to be with a partner you can trust. We keep coming back to trust, Karishma. That's one
Yes.
of the themes that has run through this conversation, is trust as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you touched that subject of being safe with your sex, whether it be physically or emotionally. So important to, you know, consciously practice that. And I don't think a lot of people actually do that very consciously. We are still obviously in the path of innovation when it comes to immediate, testing and availability of it over the counter over here. And but I cannot harp enough on the importance of doing that regularly, even if you are, generally active, even in monogamous relationships. You should get yourself tested, and that is where we are in the healthcare space. Is that education leads to that kind of conscious taking care of yourself. So that, of course, I would definitely advocate for. Now, I think we have like kind of covered everything of what I would want to talk to you about at this moment of time. But I would like to just for our women, just the last bit of it is women and men actually, just like your top three techniques of that you would advocate absolutely for your relationship. Like, okay, you must do these three things in your sex life to make sure that you are having a good time. What would those be?
All right, well, we've lost Karishma, but I'm going to finish off by just saying a few things to wrap it up. Karishma, thank you so much for bringing me on to the Sassiest show, and I really appreciate this cross-cultural conversation, things are getting better because of people like you who are giving voice to our sexual possibility. I'd love to come back sometime and we'll get into some more. There's always so much to learn. And until then, I hope you and all of your listeners have a wonderful day today and that we've given you some good ideas to have heart-connected, passionate lovemaking. I'm Susan Bratton. Thank you so much. And if you want to get on my newsletter, it's at betterlover.com. I send out an email twice a week with these kinds of techniques and insights. So thank you so much, and I love you. Take care. Bye-bye.
I think we've touched all the questions that I wanted to ask you for this particular episode, and I'm really looking forward to have you again and again, as many times as possible, having a chat about all your experiences and what we do as Sassiest. So thank you so much, Susan, for being our guest, and hope to see you soon.